Hey folks, Coach Jeff here with the Team PRS Fit Training Tip of the Week. And this week I'm going to talk to you about how to select proper footwear. Because it seems that since I own a running shoe store, more and more people come in with a preconceived notion about the shoe that they need to have. Maybe they saw Meb wearing it, maybe they saw Rennie wearing it, maybe Crowe or maybe Kara. Who knows where they got the idea? Or maybe they just saw an advertisement on television, so naturally they want to try that out. Look, because a shoe is $175 doesn't make it a great shoe for you. Because a shoe is a $60 shoe doesn't mean it's not a great shoe for you. It is so individually based, the kind of footwear that you put on your foot. You should be going into a specialty running shoe store. Forget online sales because no one is doing the evaluation that you need to make sure you're in a shoe that's going to aid in your running and help you prevent injury. What we do in our store is we videotape our customers in their most natural state. Barefoot. We want to see how that foot is performing in its most natural state, which is barefoot. Is there any inversion or eversion? How the foot is tracking all the way through the gait cycle. What is the body alignment like all the way through the gait cycle? What is the impact like? The knees, the hips, how is everything tracking? We can do that with a very short video watching a person run barefoot. Then we can sit down and go through that with that person, that video, and say, okay, here's what we see, here's what needs to be corrected, here's what's great, this is a shoe that I think will work for you. But we don't stop there. We then get the shoe on the person's foot, and we get them back on the mill again, or we take them outside, and again, we try to video them in the most natural state that we possibly can to see if that shoe works for them. Because a lot of times, there will be movement in the shoe and not in the foot, and that can be construed as too much movement, or you might need some kind of support that you basically don't need. Look, if you go into a store and they say, oh, you're flat-footed, you're an overpronator, leave that store, because that's not necessarily the case. I'm the most flat-footed person you will ever see in your entire life. I have run in neutral shoes my entire life and have never had an injury. And why? Because I strike in this portion of my foot all the time. So I am through that point in the gait cycle where I'll roll one way or the other. My foot gets on and off the ground very, very quickly. So you want someone to take the time to look at your foot performance in its most natural state, and then you want them to look at your foot performance when they select a shoe for you. And here's the real key. The shoe has to be comfortable. You never want to walk out the door with a shoe on your foot that doesn't feel right. If it doesn't feel right in the store, it's never going to feel right. So a couple of the keys are: look at your foot, its performance in its most natural state, which is barefoot. Look at your foot's performance when you get in the shoe. Is there a change? You'd be surprised how many people we see who obviously they run on their midfoot when they're barefoot because instinctively their body begins to protect itself, and that's where the least amount of impact is. And then they put a shoe on and they go right to heel striking. And then we take that person outside and we make some adjustments to help them run with a little bit better form. But please, please, please go into your store, sit down with that clerk, sit down with that customer service person and say, can we do an evaluation on my foot, my gait cycle, and my overall performance in its most natural state and with a shoe on? And if they're not willing to do that for you, then my suggestion is that maybe you find a store that is. But that's what you need. That's how you protect injury. That's how you run a long time, comfortably, pain-free, and reduce those chances of injury by being very careful from day one with your foot selection process. And that doesn't mean that you go back and buy that same shoe 6 months or a year from now. You should always have your foot, your gait cycle, and your performance reevaluated with every pair of shoes that you buy, every time you buy a pair of shoes. That's it from here for today. If you have any questions, please send me an email, prsfit@gmail.com. And as always, be healthy, train smart, have fun. This is a coach, and I'll see you next week.